We're here to talk about what HIV is. We'll talk about prevention and how somebody can be viral load suppressed, and also some STIs versus UTI issues. So we won't go in depth. We're just talking about the summary, and feel free to ask questions whenever you feel like something is pressing. All right. So we have our guests here that are going to answer, or rather explain what we're about to say. So my first question was, what is HIV and how is it transmitted? Just in summary, pay attention. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much, 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗲. My name is 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗲𝗂𝗯𝗲. As we are here talking about HIV and AIDS, most of us know what HIV is, how it is transmitted. As we are here as students in universities, we know that we have different age groups, and among us, we have a high risk of HIV transmission because of different things that goes around in high learning institutions. For example, use of substances around students. That is one of the risks or one of the contributing factors to acquiring HIV and AIDS. Thank you.
Wow, so you have gotten that point. So I think we'll just add on to how when somebody tests for HIV and then they find that they're negative or positive, all right? So on the negative aspect, we'll have one of our panelists to tell us what somebody should do if they find out that they have tested HIV negative, for them to continue to stay negative.
Good morning, everyone. As I was introduced, my name is 𝗙𝗶𝗶𝗲𝗂𝗯𝗲. Yes, so how a young person or a person can go about when they are HIV negative. So you know that when you go to the healthcare providers, you test for HIV, they find you positive, you're going to be started on treatment, right? But when you test negative, there's another type of treatment which is called a prevention treatment for HIV. So when you are tested negative, if you know that you are sexually active, or you know that your partner is sexually active or has multiple partners, then you can get a drug called PrEP. How many know what PrEP is? So PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's a drug that you take when you know that you're not HIV positive, right? So it prevents you from getting HIV positive. So we have different types of PrEP. We have the oral PrEP, which you take every day, and then we have the injectable PrEP that has been brought to the market now, that you take once in 2 months, like you take it in intervals, once in 2 months. And then now we have another one that has been brought on the market that you take once in 6 months. So when you take a jab, you'll be able to prevent HIV positive.
Okay, so now we understand that when you test for HIV and then you turn out that you're HIV negative, it does not end there, especially if you're sexually active. We're supposed to prevent ourselves, yeah? So now we go to the other result, for example, or for instance, when you test HIV positive, what do you do?
Okay, so I know that some people find HIV conversations boring because it's assumed that everybody else knows already, has everything, they have all the information. But at a place like this one, we have different young people coming from different backgrounds, and some of us here, for the first time in our lives, have the freedom. Okay, we are not under our parents' care. We have so much freedom, we can do whatever we want. So in most universities in Zambia, there are so many new HIV infections coming from there. Okay? We don't know the situation here, but statistics are telling us that there's so many new infections coming from universities. The same way, a lot of students are treating STIs and calling some of them UTIs. Through the same transmission, HIV is being transmitted. That's why it's important from time to time to remind each other that HIV is still there. Yes, we have options. She's talked about prevention. How can it be prevented? That information has been given. There are so many forms of prevention, right? But now things have evolved. We even have medical kind of prevention. Okay? So with PrEP there, but when somebody's HIV positive, again, being on treatment can also contribute to prevention now. So we'll be talking about a lot of that information later, but one is found positive, they are put on treatment. And treatment has been made easier compared to how it was in the past, where most people just take 1 tablet per day. In the past, you had to memorize different colors of tablets. You combine them for you to be able to take in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. But now, life has been made much easier. That's why most people are able to adhere to treatment. So being on treatment, when you're tested positive, is the most important thing. But it doesn't only protect you, it also protects other people. Because it's not everybody who is comfortable to share their status. Even those in relationships, it's very rare that they'll actually be able to tell their partner they're HIV positive. For the young people that are HIV positive that we work with, especially the females, one of the greatest challenges they face is disclosure. Okay, telling your partner, going back to tell your partner, I was tested today and I'm positive, because some people fear my partner will just disappear. Or maybe how many partners will stay with your partner if they told you today they were HIV positive? How many of us? Support, you see? Yeah, so this is the process. Okay, so there's another hand there. People that will stay with their partner even if they were HIV positive. But also, in these times, it's not that risky anymore, because in a few months down the line, somebody can actually be virus suppressed and they will not be able to transmit any HIV. We know that, right? So I'll pause there.
Okay, so we've understood that there's an issue of suppressing your viral load when you've tested HIV positive. So at this point, we're going to talk about STIs and UTIs. We understand that people get to misquote or misinterpret what STIs and UTIs are. So we're going to have Madam Miranda to tell us what the thin line is between STIs and UTIs.
Thank you very much. My name is Miranda Ziva. I work with the youth platform, but I'm also the youth constituency representative at the Global Fund Country Coordinating Mechanism. So I'll talk to you about STIs. STIs are simply infections that are mainly spread through sexual intercourse. So that is why they are called STIs. STI means sexually transmitted infections. So when you look at STIs, we have different types of STIs. Some of them include the most common, the gonorrhea that we've heard about, HPV, but I don't know if we are aware that even HIV is among the STIs because it's also a sexually transmitted infection. So we have gonorrhea, we have syphilis, we have HPV, and the other types of STIs. And in most cases, we usually, like Edie has mentioned, we usually tend to think you just have a UTI or you just have fungal infection. And in most cases, it's fungal infection. So we have a number of symptoms that we see, and these symptoms are the ones that are very similar to UTIs and fungal infections. And in most cases, these are the itchiness. In most cases, you find that a lady or a guy will be experiencing itchiness on their private parts or the vagina or their penis. Please allow me to use these words because we are talking about sexually transmitted infections, right? Yeah. So we mostly experience itchiness. Sometimes you can experience abdominal pains. In your lower abdomen, you get to feel some pain. And sometimes you may just be experiencing sometimes even just your stomach pain. For ladies, you think you're just having stomach pains, you think it's just cramps, and when your menses are done, you still continue feeling those cramps. So we have some of those feelings that you get to feel when you have STIs. But in most cases, we usually forget and think we just have fungal infections, and you keep treating fungal infections. You go to the clinic and you tell them you have fungal infection when in the actual sense, what you have is an STI. So we are just here to encourage you all to ensure that as soon as you start having those conditions, rush to the clinic, ensure you test for STIs as well. Do not only focus on fungal infections, do not only focus on UTIs, because in most cases you find that you have STIs and you do not know it, and we usually overlook it. So this is mostly happening in higher learning institutions where we have a lot of young people sharing the toilets and things like that. So another fact is that STIs are actually not transmitted through toilets, but they are transmitted through sexual infection, sexual Intercourse, they are also transmitted through sharing needles and sharp instruments. They are also transmitted through mother-to-child transmission, and also sometimes through certain contact with a person that has an STI that has reached a certain level, or rather an advanced level. So there are so many means of transmission. It may not be sexually, it may not be because you have been sexually active, but there are other means that have mentioned as well. So please, when you start experiencing that, just overlook the fact that you're not sexually active and think you're okay. Find a way of getting to the hospital, getting tested, and have those STIs treated. And in most cases, we forget about how you can be able to treat these STIs within a short period of time, but the longer it takes, the harder it is for you to treat these STIs. I'll tell you that there's an STI called syphilis that will get to your brain, and some people become blind, some people become mentally, it affects your mental situation. So you become, some of them go mad, actually. So Livingstone is one of the places where we've seen a lot of people who have gone mad. Of course, some of them is because they have been using what you call juju. Those are some of the effects of staying with those STIs for a long time. And sometimes you just destroy your vaginal area. And yeah, I'll just end there for now.
Thank you so much, Miranda. So the topic of STI is a bit tricky sometimes, especially in higher learning institutions. Some of them where we've been, we have found a lot of people that blame their STIs on the toilet seat. We call them UTIs, and we accuse the toilet seat. Innocent toilet seat is accused of having transmitted something. So we continue going to, and some of us we even go and procure the medicine to treat ourselves, like treatment at home, where we're not able to monitor whether we have healed or not. Okay? And then we leave the guy or the girl who is the source of the transmission alone. So we keep going to get treatment. As long as the other person or the other party is also not being treated, it doesn't go away. Okay, to continue to recur. So I think we may need to pause here and go to the audience. So let's get interactive. So don't just ask a question on your behalf. You can ask on behalf of your neighbor, on behalf of your roommate, you know these situations, or behalf of your community members, just in case they're shy to ask.
Thank you so much. My name is Dan Mdenda. You've talked a lot on STIs and you haven't tackled a little on UTIs. So I'm asking if you can please explain a little bit on UTIs. Thank you.
Right now, what you're saying, HIV is transmitted through blood transmission. And you say HIV can also transmit through sex intercourse, not through wearing a condom. How can someone be infected with HIV through blood transmission?
Okay, my name is Marumani. If my mind serves me well, from the beginning, the first speaker talked about the substance abuse, but she didn't go further to tell us the relationship between the substance abuse and HIV transmission. I need some credit just there. Thank you.
My question is all vaginal fungal infection signs of urinary tract infections?
Okay, so who's going first?
Is the UTI?
Okay, so I'll be speaking to UTIs. So UTI is actually an infection in the urinary tract system. So sometimes it could be coming from the kidney, but in most cases it just affects the urinary tract system. So when you look at the difference between UTIs and, you said fungal infection, or is it STIs? STIs. Yeah, so for the UTIs, these are infections that are just within the urinary tract system. But for STIs, these are within your sexual organs. You experience pain and the like, but the symptoms are very similar, and this is why we find a lot of people treating UTIs over and over, not knowing it's actually an STI. They are very similar. You have pain and itchiness and all that. So for UTIs, in most cases, what causes it, just like fungal infections, it's wearing tight clothing, damp ones, poor hygiene, not drinking enough water. Those are among the causes of UTIs. And I mean, we have talked about poor hygiene. That's why it's easy to get a UTI through a toilet seat, but it's not possible for you to get an STI through a toilet seat. I'll end there. I hope that's clear.
Thank you very much for the second question. The one about blood transfusion, if I'm not mistaken. So if we all know that if a person that is not virally suppressed, it means that they have a lot of HIV copies in their blood, right? So when a person who's HIV positive and has a high viral load copies of HIV meets with a person that is HIV negative and has got cuts, okay? So remember that HIV thrives in blood, right? So during sexual intercourse, when the female is either dry or the male is dry, there is friction, and that might cause cuts, right? And then when the male releases their sperm, because even in the mucous membrane, the HIV virus is found there. So that's how a person can transmit the HIV through the blood. But through to blood transfusion, those are rare cases because most of the blood transfusion are screened in the hospitals. So you do not just give a person blood that is gotten from someone. So if they find that this blood has got copies of HIV positive, they dispose that blood. You never find, it's very rare that in this time and age that we find people being transfused blood that an HIV positive person had or has.
So I just wanted to add that that's the reason why in the past there was so much in terms of HIV infections, so many infections, because I think most people are aware that in the past you had a situation where people preferred dry sex, right? So that made HIV transmission thrive. So because of that. Is there another question?
Thank you. There was another question on what's the relationship between substance abuse and HIV transmission. So as we all know, when you take alcohol or drugs or substances, your thinking or your decision making is impaired. At that point, you are unable to make right decisions to a point where you are unable to have protected sex. Secondly, when one is taking substances, there are substances that are taken using needles, and we find those people sharing needles. It's rare that you find that they each one have a separate needle that they're using for those drugs. Through sharing of those needles, blood is transmitted from one person to another. That is another way substance abuse is linked to transmission of HIV infection. Thank you.
My name is Samuel, and my question is, at first when you are presenting, I heard you talked about something concerning PrEP, which prevents HIV. Now my question is, doesn't PrEP now encourage for youths now to be having sexual intercourse, knowing to say there is PrEP which can prevent them from attracting HIV and AIDS?
Yes, I want to find out the primary mechanism which HIV invests the host immune system.
My name is 𝗟𝗶𝗂𝗧𝘂𝗧𝗂𝗯𝗲. I want to get more clarification to the madam who said dry sex, like when the woman inside, maybe let me say if you're having dry sex, is it possible for you to use a lubricant? Since the madam said you can only... Is it possible what? Dry sex. Yeah. Yes. The madam said that you can only get HIV positive when one of the, maybe both of you, the partners, the female and the other partner, you have cuts. That's when you can get the contact of the HIV positive. So is it possible for you to use lubricants and you can't get infected by the HIV positive?
Hello. Okay. All right. The first question was around PrEP. Whether PrEP can encourage young people to have sex. I say no, because it's the same as people that say if you give a young person a condom, you're encouraging them to have sex. So the condom doesn't make you want to have sex. It's the opportunity to have sex that will lead you to using the condom. So for PrEP is an option, it's not everyone's option. It's an option for those people who feel they are exposed. They are at risk, you are having unprotected sex, and you are not very sure of what your partner is doing. Okay? And others have maybe multiple concurrent sexual partnerships. So if you're having sex with a number of people, so you don't know their status, you're not sure. Also, the status is a tricky conversation. You could know the status today, but you may not be sure about the status tomorrow because you were not together last night or yesterday. So what they did yesterday or the other day, you may never be aware. So if you are in a relationship where you are not sure, but you feel you are exposed, that's why they don't just give PrEP, by the way. They will ask a number of questions for them to understand whether you are really at risk or not. Otherwise, it may just be a waste. So it's meant for people who are busy or people who want to protect themselves. Yeah? Then I'll also quickly answer the other question around the use of lubricant. So I think the people that arrive at practicing dry sex, for some of them it's by choice. That is what they prefer. It's a preference. It's discouraged, highly discouraged. But for others, it's a preference. So for those that struggle, that's why the lubricant was made. It was made for such things. People think it's just meant for other things. No. Is there anything else?
I think it has concluded on everything. So I'll give each one of you 30 seconds to give us your closing remarks.
All right, thank you very much for all the questions, for all the interactions. As young people in the university, I urge you to take care of yourselves. Please, if you are sexually active, use condoms, yeah? And also, if you would like to access any HIV prevention methods, you can go to any nearest clinic or facility and just speak to any youth-friendly focal point person, because they have like youth-friendly space where us young people can go and access some of the services. Maybe also, just by closing, the other question for the other guy that was talking about the host. So the HIV invades the host by attaching itself to the CD4 cell of the human host. We all know that the CD4 cell, inside there's the T helper cells that coordinates the immune system of the host. So by attacking the host, it reduces the immune system and other infections can come in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In conclusion, I would say we are all here as young people. We have services that are given and provided out there in the health facilities for free. Let's keep health. Visit those facilities to access those services. HIV testing is for free. We can go to the health facilities, get tested, and protect ourselves. Access PrEP, and PrEP is also given for free. Let's visit those health facilities, access PrEP, and prevent ourselves from acquiring those HIV infections. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In conclusion, I just want to give you some extra symptoms of UTIs so that when you see them, you should be able to just rush to the hospital and ensure that they are treated. So allow me to read some of them. One includes pain and burning when urinating. So when you experience this, rush to the hospital and get your UTI tested. Feeling the need to urinate oftenly, and also when you are passing small amounts of urine from time to time. That is a UTI. We have cloudy or strong, smelly urine. Please, when you see that, find yourself at a health facility and have this checked. Low abdominal pain, just like fungal infection, and sometimes you may feel some fever. So when you experience this, know it's a UTI, but also if you are sexually active, please make sure to go to a health facility and have yourself tested. It could actually be an STI. Thank you very much.
So one question here, as he concludes also, and then Sibu will also conclude for us.
Yeah, I would like to ask one question. I think we've seen a lot, especially on social media, about the cures, discovery of this and that. I don't know, is there any hope that in the near future there will be a cure for HIV and AIDS? That's my question.
Wow. So, yes, we keep hoping. We keep hoping that there will be cure. We know that there is so much advancement in the area of HIV treatment now. I just talked about how people are being treated now, and how within 6 months, if you adhere to treatment, you can actually be virus suppressed and you not be able to transmit the virus to the next person. That is massive advancement. And I think we are very close to the cure. If we are there, we are close to the cure, except I think HIV has become very political. It's a big conversation. Okay, but we are still hopeful that one day will arrive because we are really close. Yeah. With that said, for me, on behalf of the team, the youth platform, I just want to say thank you so much for making time to come through here. For those of you that sat here throughout, I wish you all the best in your exam. This one is an A. So we hope to come back here, sir. We hope to come back here next term, hopefully, where we can find the correct smiles, with people not tensed up, not worrying about what's coming in the paper. Trust me, it's exactly what you started last night. So thank you so much. We'll end here, and we will let you know. We have some of your contacts, so we'll let you know when this show will be airing, because it will be airing on the youth platform. If you want to learn more, since today you are disturbed, you are focusing, please check out the Youth Platform 360. Just search for the Youth Platform on Facebook, YouTube, our website. You'll be able to get more and more information. And you can get a chance to participate in our other program, both local and international engagements. Thank you so much. All the best.